is the Michigan Football Report. I am your host, James Yoder, with Young Harbaugh, Jack Lotta-Ray producing for me today. We are publishing this on Thursday night. Going to need a little help from you guys here in one moment. There is some turmoil. I'm hearing some rumblings, some rumors, and some quotes out there to kind of back it up that there may be a little bit of disagreement on how Michigan is using Bryce Underwood, other pieces on the offense. You got Sherrone Moore, you got his new OC, Chip Lindsey. No working relationship with them in the past. So we're going to talk about that on today's show. Before we do, though, I need to ask you guys a favor. You know the deal. I've asked this before. We're kind of falling off the YouTube algorithm a little bit. We need to help you. We need to ask you guys to help us market the show a little bit. So we figured it out a few months back. If we get 100 likes within the first hour of publishing, we're going to put this out probably right around 7:30. We're filming about 6:45. Might get it out a few minutes before that. We'll see. 7:30 Eastern. So you're watching it between 7:30, 7:15 up to 8:15, 8:30. Give me a like on the video. Hell, go back and unlike it if you want to after 8:30. That's okay. But if we get 100 likes in the first hour, typically the video is put in the YouTube feed of twice as many Michigan football fans. It's the best way and the most cost-effective way for us to market the show. So appreciate it if you do. Just put out the good vibes. It feels good. Put some good vibes into this world. Now, is Michigan not on the same page? Is the coaching staff, heck, the players even, I don't know, on the same page with how to use Bryce Underwood? Maybe the most hyped, maybe the most prepared freshman quarterback of all time. Only has 5 carries for -6 yards through his first 2 games, his first 2 starts, and 3 of those were sacks. And I'm not even sure if either of the other ones were designed runs or not. I have to go back and really look at the tape. I haven't charted every single run because I just know, like, in my mind, he hasn't run a single time that I can remember. So I'm guessing those 2 runs might not have been sacks. They might have been scrambles where he got a couple yards or just even broke even. But I'm not calling him Bryce Underwood anymore, right? Bryce underran. He is underran. He's got elite athleticism, right? This is, I don't want to say he's Vince Young because I don't think he's that fast at the top level, but he is one of the best athletes to play the quarterback position, to come out of high school, to be a true freshman in at least the last 30, 40, 50 years, and especially when you add the size, 6'4", 230, 225 pounds, whatever he's weighing in at now right now. This isn't JJ McCarthy, like 6'2", 205 pounds, absolutely soaking wet. Bryce Underwood is a unit, and a lot of people think he's like the physical standpoint, the LeBron James of high school football and now college football, and he's going to have his 3rd start coming up on Saturday night. It is Michigan, Central Michigan, but they are going to be without Sherrone Moore. Sherrone Moore was still doing his press conference. So, Jack, he's suspended 11:59 on Friday through 11:59 Saturday. So it's 8 full days the following Saturday, p.m. So basically at midnight Saturday, he can't be on the team, can't be really at all practice next week. So it's really, they say it's a 2-week suspension, 2-game suspension, 1 full week leading up to Nebraska. He was did some media this week so far, his press conference on Monday, his radio show. The quote that stuck out to me was, if you run your quarterback, you better have 2. I think, kind of meant if you run your quarterback, you better have 2. I've always believed that. Even did that with JJ. JJ wanted to run every game, and I was like, no, you're going to get hit. You're going to get hurt. And I'm saying, like, we saw JJ running an NFL game on Monday night. I know the backup for JJ wasn't that great, but nevertheless, I'm going to ask you guys a question before we continue on with this Sherrone Moore, Chip Lindsey disagreement, turmoil. What is your confidence level in Bryce Underwood over the next 2 games, Central Michigan and Nebraska? I'm going to bring up my phone and give you some thoughts because I put this on Twitter, and this morning the responses, they really, really varied. I've got 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, then a 3.5. Nebraska's going to beat us, unfortunately. Got 10 and 8 and 9, and then it's like threes. So not really, very polarizing. A lot of 3s and 2s, a lot of 8, 9s, and 10s, not much in the middle. The people who are saying 8 and 9 are like, but the coaching staff sucks. So it is a very torn Michigan football fan base when it comes to Bryce Underwood. Give us a number 1 through 10. I'm going with 6 at this point. I'm going to be the guy in the middle. I'm not going to be polarizing. I don't know what we're going to see out of him. I think we'll see some good stuff out of Central Michigan, him against Central Michigan, but on the road, Nebraska, very similar, kind of vibe, very similar kind of people, very passionate crowd against Nebraska, just like Oklahoma. We'll see how things shake out. So he's not been used yet as a runner, and Chip Lindsey was asked about him in his press conference yesterday, and it was a real different quote. And there was a bunch more quotes. Everything he seemed to say was counter to what Sherrone Moore said. And you see, Bryce is very capable. It's something we want to showcase when possible and when it makes sense. It's in our game plan every week. It's in your game plan, right? But you're not actually doing it. So there's a vibe out there from both Joe Casual fan, which is fine. They have eyes too. That's not like, who's the guy from ESPN, Ryan Clark, who thinks you can't have an opinion on football unless you played football, right? I don't believe that at all. I've watched as much football as anybody. I can have opinions, as can you. We're out there thinking that, hey, this looks no different than last year's offense, right? Did last year's OC get kind of the blame put on him? And people think that Sherrone's still putting the handcuffs on this offense. This is even Chip Lindsey's offense. I'm not sure if I can disagree with them. And there's a lot of reasons why, because of what we've seen so far compared to what we saw last year so far. Jack, did you know Michigan was the only team in college football last year that did not have a single pass over 40 yards? I'm not talking about through the air. I'm talking about a completion, right? Had one this year and had to be caught over off a guy's head. Had another one almost go 40, the 39 to Kendrick Bell, I believe it was, before halftime of that first game in Michigan Stadium. So people think Sherrone's putting the handcuffs on the offense. We'll continue to talk about this, but did want to ask you guys a favor. I did want to give you guys an update and point this out, that we put out a video. I filmed it. I just wanted to do like a 60 to maybe 120 second, maybe a 3-minute video max on my couch the other night, and it turned out to be a 10.5-minute video, right? People were talking to me, he's like, why are Michigan fans so obsessed with JJ McCarthy? Who cares? He doesn't play for you guys anymore. And I was like, you know what? I don't think you guys get it. So if you're a Michigan fan, if you're not a Michigan fan, that's fine. I think Michigan fans, for the most part, are going to agree with everything I said, and it's going to give you some ammo, maybe some things that you didn't even think about why JJ McCarthy is so special, why I think a lot of Michigan fans who are also Lions fans are still rooting for JJ McCarthy, why he holds a special place in the program and in the hearts and minds of Michigan football fans. Maybe unlike any player has since Charles Woodson, and maybe it's just him and Woodson at the very top. They came in and completely changed the program and led the team and the program to a national championship. But I don't want to know if we're talking about offense, if we're talking about quarterback, and the link is you saw there, it's at the end of the first paragraph in the description. So go down to the description, end of the first paragraph, we got the link to that video. So please watch it. Please give it a like. Let me know what you think in the comments on that video. How did it come to this, right? How do we get to this point where you've got a offense ready to win a national championship in 2023? Your backup, your third-string running back are great. Your offensive line is maybe the best in the country. They can't give him a third Joe Moore award, for best offensive line. Yeah, they won in 21, they won 22. You can't do it a third straight year. You've got 2 wide receivers who got drafted in the NFL. You got a tight end who was drafted number 10, where all of a sudden you're at such a talent deficiency at 2 key positions, wide receiver and offensive line. That's the question we're talking about next. But before we do, I want to make sure you guys knew we've been sleuthing the internet, trying to find you guys the best Michigan football gear. And this one has been out of stock for at least a year. I have not seen it in stock since last football season. It is the throwback Wolverine with the little Michigan, I don't know what you call that, sailor's hat, little top hat there. The Maze Nike version. It is back in stock, and you've got free shipping. So it's chatsports.com/Maze shirt, chatsports.com/Maze shirt. Go down in the comments in the description. It is right there. I think it's the second or third paragraph of the description. Click on it. Type the link in, whatever you want. This bad boy is sold out all the time. It is back in stock in every single size. Free shipping. I think the cost is $34.99. Heck of a deal. The Nike version. Do not miss out. I love this shirt. I bought one myself today, and you are going to love it too. Hell, save it for a Christmas gift for somebody. Say, hey, you can never get these bad boys. I got it for you. So how did it come to this, right? How do we get to a point where, in my opinion, if you were to stack rank positions, quarterback in the Big Ten, right, wide receiver in the Big Ten, and let me talk about nationally, just in the Big Ten, I think you can make a strong argument that Michigan is bottom 5 at multiple positions on offense. Let's start with the wide receivers. This is the production so far of your wide receiver group. All right, and then let's take off some of the miracles, right? You got a 4-yard pass off a guy's helmet over a guy's head to Donaven McCulley. You take that off, your leading receiver has 6 catches, for 80 yards after 2 games. Channing Goodwin. He's got 74 yards. Okay, great. But who am I thinking? Oh, Kendrick Bell. Well, no, Kendrick Bell, Goodwin or Bell, one of them had a miracle catch himself. What am I forgetting here, Jack? I can't remember what it was. But this is the production that these wide receivers had. You see Semaj Morgan in there. Channing Goodwin has made one nice catch. He's been around. He's done some good things. But I have got a beef right now. Not like a personal beef. You try and keep this professional. You try and not make it personal there. But I cannot understand why Michigan thinks that Semaj Morgan is up to the task of being the starting wide receiver, the starting punt returner, an impact player for this team, frankly, in any regards. 140 yards last year, 139 yards, right? A third of them against Texas alone. But he's been a starting receiver now for 2 years. He's a big impact player. When Michigan stars all over the offense in 2023 as a true freshman, he had better stats than he did last year starting. Certainly that he's going to have this year if he continues to be a starting wide receiver for this program. I really think that talent evaluation, right? Talent evaluation is something we're going to talk about here and who's to blame for it. But his on-field performance, okay? We need to be honest about it. We need to just have a conversation because I put this out a couple days ago on Twitter. You should follow me at James Yoder, and almost everybody agreed with me. But you know who didn't agree with me, Jack? You know who didn't agree with me? You know, chirped me and called me a schmuck or something like that? His dad, right? It's always the dads, right? It's always the dads. I didn't say anything bad. I said, can we have an honest conversation? Because for some reason, over the years, whenever I'm critical, even say, like, he's not cutting it. Like, that's not being critical. That's just being honest. Frankly, you're going to play at Michigan. You've got to take criticism that he is not, cut out. He doesn't have the talent. He doesn't have the output to be a starting wide receiver at Michigan. And his dad said something like, never talk about another man's money. It was sucker, like with an A or several A's. So that was one of those things. Actually, I rarely hide comments. I'm just like, I don't even want this in my feed. I'm hiding it. I don't want that to spread into anything else. I think Semaj Morgan should not be playing wide receiver for this group. I don't think he has the talent to make an impact. I think he's doing a disservice to Bryce Underwood as one of his 2 or 3 featured receivers. His production isn't there. His playmaking isn't there. And what we've seen from him off the field by his locker room videos, I'm not sure how great of a team culture fit guy he is. And when you're trying to bring out a true freshman quarterback and expect the world of them, you need leaders on top, to play with him. You need guys to bring him up, not to bring him down. I think it's a really good reason why Rod Moore is probably going to be in the lineup on Saturday. You need leaders. I don't think Semaj Morgan as a junior, as the elder statesman of this offense outside of 1 or 2 offensive linemen, is the right guy to be paired with Bryce Underwood right now. Let me know in the comments, folks. Has Semaj Morgan's on-field performance, has it been good enough to remain a starting wide receiver? You can give me a yes, you can give me a no, you can give me a maybe. Let me know your thoughts. Comment as much or as little as you want. Jack and I will be in those comments and kind of, give him some feedback, and we'll see how he does in the game on Saturday. Maybe we'll put some of those comments on screen on Sunday or Monday as we react to Central Michigan, which is coming up Saturday noon at the Big House. Right now, okay, we're talking about wide receivers. Now we're going to offensive linemen. I've listened to all the scribes and the pundits and the offensive line experts, the blog boys. I've listened to some podcasts, some competitors. Hear what other people are saying. Am I crazy? Are the other people seeing the same thing? Some of these pods have a former Michigan offensive lineman come on, etc. And I think my criticism, your criticism, has been spot on, is that this offensive line so far has stunk. It was okay against New Mexico. It stunk against Oklahoma on Saturday. You lost maybe the best guy who's been playing all year right now, Giovanni El-Hadi. He will not be in the lineup on Saturday, so Michigan's going to have to shuffle things around again. And you look back to last year quarterback. You look where you had last year receiver, last year offensive line. If you take out Colson Lovin from last year's offense, what'd you have, right? You had nothing. You could barely score against Ohio State. You could barely score a single point against Alabama in the bowl game with Loveland out. Is Sherrone more actually able to evaluate talent? I'll tell you why I say that. He went into last season. He went into the 2024 season. His first season as coach, the first impression you're going to make as a head coach, a guy who was like 37, 38 years old, and he looked himself in the mirror. He looked at his roster, and he said, I can win a Big Ten championship. I can go to the college football playoff. I can beat Ohio State again. Maybe he got that one right. with the quarterbacks that we have on this roster. Jaden Davis, who still can't get a snap now, 2 games into his sophomore year, who kind of throws it like from the side with a little glitch in his throw. 45-year-old Jack Tuttle. Davis Warren, who for all intents and purposes is a great guy, but is not a talented quarterback enough to be the starting quarterback in Michigan. And who last year? Now you've got Bryce Underwood, great, but you didn't upgrade the wide receiver group really at all. You got Donaven McCulley, okay. I'm not sure I've seen anything out of him that tells me he's really any better than the guys they had last year. It's only been 2 games. And your offensive line has taken a big step. It was like 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, right? It looks kind of like that slope of the M. Jack, you see this right here? There's 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024, 2024, wrong way, sorry, that way. The camera's mirrored. And I just don't think Sherrone Moore can evaluate talent, either the talent on his roster. Maybe it's not talent from high school. You can rely on the recruiting gurus, etc. But how do you look at the quarterback room in 2024 and not go absolutely ballistic in the transfer portal? Offer any quarterback with a pulse any amount of money they need. Take the money out of your own pocket, damn it, Sherrone. Offer them an NIL deal, whatever you had to do last year. Because looking back, last year's team was just a decent quarterback away, in my opinion, of being a playoff team, maybe going to the Final Four, maybe a national championship game with Will Johnson and Colson Lovin and Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham. I thought you wasted a lot of talent last year. Now you fixed the quarterback issue, but for the second year in a row, you've got one of the least talented wide receiver rooms in all of college football, one of the least productive, I'm not sure about talent yet, but least productive offensive lines in the Big Ten. And if things don't change, I'm sure they're going to look good on Saturday against Central Michigan. I don't know about Nebraska. After that, you got USC in a few weeks after that in the 6th game of the year. This team could be staring down the barrel of a 3-3 start after last year's 500 start until you got to the Northwestern game. It's not going to be pretty. You got to change things. Sherrone Moore cannot evaluate the own offensive talent that he has in the team. He's proven that so far. I think it's going to be a big challenge going forward if he doesn't get that straightened out. Make sure you guys like the show. If you enjoyed what you saw today, give us a like, especially if you're watching within that first hour between around 7:30 Eastern and 8:30 Eastern. So I see you guys later. Go Blue.